How's it going? So today we're going to look at the preview for episode 6 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. Okay, so just before we start, I've got something really important to show you all. Trigger warning, season 7/8 of Game of Thrones. But listen, I got it for £3 in Vent that I literally couldn't say no. How amazing is that? I'm so excited about it. I think it's great. Glad to share it with you all. Sorry, okay, back to the video. We open up on a shot of Rhaenyra in the dragon pit, and we see her saying, "It has never been attempted before." And obviously this is in reference to the whole idea of gaining the dragon seeds that they were talking about at the very end, in the very last scene of the last episode. So, you know, where her and Jace were talking about going through the Valyrian histories to see if they could find anybody with any Targaryen blood that they could essentially draw into their cause and stick on a dragon, because they realise that we're actually we're losing footing very quickly, you know, with the loss of a dragon rider and dragon at the last battle. They kind of realise now, like, the stakes are very high against Vhagar. Like, we need as many dragons as humanly possible to take Vhagar down, and then the war is ours. So obviously at the end of the last episode they were talking about Vermithor and Silverwing. We've seen Vermithor at the end of season 1. Obviously Daemon was going down and singing his song in High Valyrian. We haven't seen Silverwing yet. There is a dragon we see at the end of this trailer, but Ryan Condal already confirmed this, that it's sea smoke, so we're not even going to debate that one. But yeah, so essentially in terms of the dragon seeds, because I know some people have come here for some education, which is beyond me, and God love you if you're hoping to learn from me, but I'm going to try my best to do a tiny bit of education about what this is. So essentially dragon seeds are anybody with some type of Valyrian blood that can ride a dragon, or can attempt to ride a dragon, because obviously the dragons are not just going to immediately accept anybody that has Targaryen blood. Like we learned in the last episode, even Rhaenyra had tried to claim a dragon and it almost killed her in the attempt. So it can't just be assumed that because you have Targaryen blood that you're going to be successful in claiming a dragon. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But the first thing that they're trying to do is kind of look at the noble houses. It's questionable if they're going to have much success, because the noble houses, they were talking about, you know, those who had their blood but had fallen out of the family, essentially out of the family tree, so they weren't really aware of them, so they were going to try and find them. But realistically, since the conquest, I think there's only been 2 times where they like properly married out of the houses and had offspring. And the first time of this was when the Dowager Queen Alyssa Velaryon married a Baratheon, and she ended up having 2 children. She had a son and a daughter, and her daughter Jocelyn Baratheon ended up going off and marrying a Targaryen prince and having Rhaenys. So that was Rhaenys' mum. But then, you know, they only had the one child, and obviously Rhaenys' bloodline is now extinguished. So if we ignore the whole Laenor being off in Essos with his lover, but we know where her bloodline ends up, so there's going to be no loose ends there. And then Jaehaerys' 4th daughter, Daella Targaryen, she married an Arryn, and they ended up having one child as well, one daughter, and that ended up being Aemma Arryn, so Rhaenyra's mum. So obviously we see where that bloodline went as well, and she was very unsuccessful in having other children, so Rhaenyra is essentially her entire offspring. So it's unlikely that they're going to find other noble folk, but they do have the option of looking at common folk, of which there are many with some type of Targaryen ancestor, because obviously the Targaryens are not known for being prudish. These illegitimate children to the Targaryen family, the Velaryon family, have the potential to have this blood of Valyria that'll enable them to ride dragons. So there's a town on Dragonstone, and obviously we've seen, you know, the town in Driftmark as well. But there's a town in Dragonstone where the Targaryens were known to go and, you know, have offspring with the locals. You know, be they common folk, sex worker, and also they had the right of the first night in this town, which was essentially where if a couple got married, the Lord of Dragonstone, who's obviously a Targaryen, had the opportunity to bed the wife before the husband did. And then, you know, good Queen Alysanne put an end to that because that is nasty. And God love the poor wives going to marry their husband, and all of a sudden you have some Targaryen breathing down your neck. I'll be sick. Anyway, so obviously an abhorrent tradition ended, but because of this tradition, there is likely going to be a lot of blood mixing into the pool there. And also, we have the fact that the Targaryens ruled for so long in King's Landing, so because of their foot in there was a lot of opportunity for them to also go out and father offspring illegitimately. But obviously the blood was still mixing with the common folk, and we even see this in episode 3 where Ulf the Wight is in the bar and he's talking to his friends and he's talking about how, oh, I'm like the illegitimate son of Balon Targaryen, and you know, Daemon and Viserys are my half siblings. And his friends are kind of like, oh, okay, loves his drink, typical. And now he's saying he's the Targaryen, typical. So, you know, we're not really sure if we're meant to believe that yet, but he even said the term dragon seed and kind of set up for this, so we'll see. But obviously we already know that there's a lot of illegitimate Targaryens running around King's Landing. Like, we've seen Aegon's son in season 1 at the child fighting pits, so like we know that there's going to be candidates about. It's just whether or not the dragons are going to accept them. So it's a bit of a rundown the dragon seed situation, which I imagine we're going to be focusing a lot on in this episode. You know, going out, doing the research first in the libraries, trying to find out who the potential candidates are. And I think we're also going to see Alinda Massey, Rhaenyra's handmaiden, who went to King's Landing in episode 5. I think we're going to see her too, trying to keep an eye out, maybe listening around in the bars where her friend Diana works and Ulf the Wight frequents, to see if there's anybody just openly admitting to being a Targaryen in there that might be useful to the cause. We shall see. Okay, now we're going into the Black Council. To claim a dragon, you must also be prepared to die. And then, is this a whole line of potential dragon seeds? Surely not. Surely they wouldn't have collected people at this early stage. Well, there might be some. I imagine we'll see at least one attempt in the next episode to claim a dragon, and may work, it may go awry, who's to know. But yeah, we have Rhaenyra and Jason, a dragon keeper. I would like to see the dragon keepers try and get a dragon. They deserve one. And if it's based on a bond, because I had this whole conversation in the comments section of one of my last videos where I was talking about Sea Smoke and the Hull Brillers, and, you know, if they're Corlys's sons, then where's this Targaryen blood coming from? I had a whole conversation in the comment section from one of my lovely commenters who was talking about, you know, different theories on how this could potentially work, like how they could explain this away. And, you know, we got a slight hint in it in the last episode where, you know, Jace was kind of like, yeah, the Targaryen histories are like a wee bit, they're propaganda, like they're made to gild us in gold, like, you know, it's made to make it so we are gods among men, do you know what I mean? And obviously you wouldn't seem as legitimate if it didn't exactly take as much Targaryen blood as you think to bump the dragon, so they might explain it away that way. But yeah, obviously this is some ominous foreshadowing here, saying that to try and claim a dragon you must be prepared to die, and I feel like we might be seeing some of that, a little bit of dragon fire. And Rhaenyra, again, out on this balcony, looking over the water, very concerned looking. She does a whole lot of this, doesn't she? God bless her. And she's saying perhaps the gods will favour us. And I would love to know what gods that she's talking about, because she talks about the gods a lot and doesn't actually seem to do a whole lot of praying to them, just kind of talks about wanting their favour. Okay, so we have Kristen Cole saying that should Daemon prevail in the Riverlands, I no longer have the numbers to challenge him. And in the scene, for some reason, Daemon is just smiling his head off at who I assume is Alice Rivers, because you recognise that luscious black wig anywhere. And it seems like they are in an outdoor setting, but then again it's Harrenhal, so it's hard to tell if it's just the ceiling has completely caved in, who's to know. But he's looking very pleased for some reason, and I don't know why in under God he would be smiling like this when he's been experiencing the visions that he has, and he knows that she has something to do with. Why is he smiling at her like that? We need to protect our girl Alice. Then we're taken to this scene, and Aemond is at the head of the table, and there's not a whole lot of other people in the Green Council at this stage. Very interesting. And we have this shot of Cole looking at Alicent. You recognise that beautiful auburn hair anywhere. He has a new horse now with also cool horse armour. You'd love to see it. R.I.P. his last horse. Beautiful, beautiful boy. Anyway, so he's talking about not having the numbers to challenge Daemon, which I think is really interesting, because in the last episode we seen the Lannister at court talking about how everything has fallen to disarray in the Riverlands, and that Daemon is not going to have an easy time raising an army anytime soon. So I don't know why he is under the impression now that something has changed, and that Daemon even has the potential to raise an army in the Riverlands anytime soon. So is this something that happens within the episode, or is this just some anxieties that he's having now about war, given how the last battle went? Even though they were the victors, it definitely didn't feel that way. So they're obviously on the move again. We heard in the last episode that the Lannisters are on the move. They are coming east. And so Aemond said that they should go to Harrenhal to face off with Daemon, and that on the way they should check the rivermen while their banners are in disarray. So based on that statement, I imagine we're going to see some of the river lords from the last episode. I feel like they didn't introduce those specific 4 characters for no particular reason, and so I was kind of looking at the maps and thinking who we could possibly see. These are our river lords from the last episode, and again, courtesy of Fantasy Haven, the screenshot. So we have Lord Piper, Lord Malister, Lord Darley, and Lord Mouton. It's meant to be an O at the end. E or O-N. There we go. So if we are to look at this map and look where the Lannisters are going to be marching from, obviously Daemon's over here at Harrenhal, and the Lannisters will be marching over from here, Casterly Rock, Lansport. And if we are going up this mountain, they are likely going to be going through the Golden Tooth. They're not going to be going the Bold Road direction. They will likely be taking this Golden Tooth direction, and then coming around to Harrenhal that way. But if we look at the houses that we have, so obviously we have House Piper, who is the first in the screenshot, and they are at Pink Maiden. We have House Malister then, who's next in the shot, and they are up at Seaguard up here. Then we have House Darry, who is over at Darry in this direction, and so they're past Harrenhal. And we have House Mouton, and they are over at Maidenpool, so they're over here. So Darry and Maidenpool, unlikely we're going to pay a visit there because they are past Harrenhal, and Seaguard is absolutely miles away. So I imagine Pink Maiden is going to be the stop off point if we are to see some of these river lords again. So that is a potential stop off point on the way. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get there. It is notable that it took them 10 days to get from Rook's Rest to King's Landing at the start of the last episode. So it looks like a similar-ish distance, maybe slightly further. So I would like to see that hopefully reflected in the episode. But yeah, I imagine that's going to probably be the stop-off point, if not some of these other areas and locations as well. It'd be nice if we got to see some of them. And then the inevitable planned stop-off afterwards is Harrenhal, which is obviously beside Raventree Hall and Stonehenge. It's brackens and blackwoods just up here fighting. But yeah, so that's our map time done. Back to the video. And Aemond says, "My uncle is a challenge I welcome." And he really does believe this too. God bless him. If he dares face me. Which is very brave. So brave. Don't know why he's so insistent and always trying to fight Daemon. Daemon literally is like, he's on another planet right now. Like, he is not concerned about fighting this man. But sure. So we see Daemon come down here with his overnight bag slung across his shoulder for some strange reason, and Caraxes over here, you know, behind the Godswood area. And we get to see a daytime shot of the Heart Tree area in Harrenhal, which is really nice. Really nice. You know, these beautiful red leaves matching this beautiful red boy. But we will see. We'll see where he's going. It's unclear whether he's trying to flee from something or whether he's going somewhere to try and bend some knees. We also see a shot later on in the episode too where Rhaenyra is taking Cyrax out for a wee flight. So it's unclear if maybe she's coming to pay a visit and he is trying to get out of there, or if Sir Alfred has made an appearance and he doesn't want to speak to him. But it also could be something to do with the fact that in the last episode he basically gave the Blackwoods free pass to do whatever they want to the Brackens to get them to bend the knee, which they did. But he explicitly said that, you know, you can go and do these things, but we can't, like, the royals can't be seen to do them, so you can act in our favour. Basically what Masara was saying in the last episode, you know, send others to do what you cannot because of your status. But he essentially said this to the Blackwoods, and then we find out at the end of the episode from those river lords from the screenshot that they went and committed all these atrocities in the name of House Targaryen, flying the Targaryen sigil, the red dragon on black. And that is obviously Rhaenyra's, and Rhaenyra is going to get blamed for all these atrocities now, and it's Daemon's fault. But Daemon is going to blame the Blackwoods because he specifically told them, I can't be seen to do this, the royal house can't be seen to do this, so you must do it, and you can get your satisfaction and revenge that way. Everyone's a winner. But then they went and made a point of flying their banners anyway, so there might be some type of retribution for that. We did see some clips in the season trailers down beside the Heart Tree, so we'll see if we get any payoff for that in this episode. But yeah, unclear what's happening here. There's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of possibilities. We shall see. Then we have this menacing shot of Aemond petting Aegon's burned little head, and over the top of it we have Alicent saying, you have the arrogance of youth. And she's right. He thinks he's indestructible. He just went and engaged in dragon battle with the largest dragon in the realm, which is his. He just ascended to Prince Regent and Protector of the Realm, and all he had to do was smoke his brother out of the sky, and now he's talking about going and fighting Daemon and retaking Harrenhal, and he's becoming a bit of a tyrant king already, locking all the citizens in King's Landing. But he thinks that he's just hit the jackpot, and he has absolutely got all the arrogance of youth. Also, the fact that Alicent is talking about the arrogance of youth, like, she is a young woman, she is also youth, and she's just never had the chance to be. She's had that just stolen from her. I feel so bad for her. But also the actress is so beautiful, it's really, really distracting, so I might be a bit more of a sympathizer because of that. Aemond did my bias. Again, not Team Green. But Alicent? And then we get this really, really, like, jarring scene where Aegon is awake, he's conscious, he's looking into Aemond's eyes with absolute fear of God in him, and Aemond is pressing his hand down in his chest and leaning over the top of him, looking like he is probably making some sort of threat that Aegon better not tell anybody what happened. Yeah, no, a very jarring scene. I don't like this at all. Let that poor man, let him recover. Although that's obviously not what Aemond wants whatsoever. He wants him to stay like this or get worse. Have the indignities of your childhood not sufficiently been avenged? And we have beautiful, you know, we have the Queen Alicent leaning over and touching the face of her son, cupping his face, looking in his eyes and saying this. And in these past 2 episodes, we've probably had the most physical interaction between Alicent and her children, with her cupping the face of Aegon and now cupping the face of Aemond. And in one, it was kind of affectionately and full of guilt because she feels kind of responsible for what happened to him. And in this situation, it's kind of, I'm a bit disgusted by you, but also I feel a bit of guilt and like I'm responsible for what happened to you. So something else about this scene, coming right off the back of that last episode with Daemon and his mother, would you look at the absolute like obsession, love, adoration in this man's eyes? He literally tell me this man doesn't fancy his mother. I mean, I fancy his mother, but like, tell me this man does not fancy his mother. I get it, they're Targaryens, she's a Hightower, she is not into this. Aemond, back off. You know, he went straight to Sylvie after this and put like an auburn wig on her. And then we have these shots again going into the dragon pit at Dragonstone, and Rhaenyra is saying, you must see in me a ruler and the symbols of authority. So again, she's kind of got this inner conflict going on where she's trying to establish herself as a ruler, and she needs these symbols of legitimacy because she feels that her womanhood has revoked her symbols of legitimacy in terms of this current conflict with her brother in the Civil War. And it's perceived that he has every symbol of legitimacy, with the Conqueror's name and his armor and his sword and his crown, and he's a dragon rider and he sits the Iron Throne in King's Landing, whereas Rhaenyra is still cooped up in Dragonstone, and you know, she's a woman and she's trying to get back her usurped throne. She's reckoning with these ideas of people not seeing her as legitimate, not even her own council, not even her own husband. And so there's all this inner turmoil where she's trying to read up on all the, you know, Valyrian histories and trying to establish herself based on these ideas of strong female rulers. Obviously she'd just lost a strong female ruler in Rhaenys, and now she's kind of stuck in this situation where she's at the mercy of her council and, you know, at her own self-doubt. And so she's looking at these histories, and Visenya is quite a violent woman. We see her just later on in this trailer where she's thrusting a sword, and we see that she's going to take more of a hands-on approach to the war. But again, it's almost as if she's taken the so-called traits of legitimacy from the men that surround her. You know, this irrationality, this fire, this passion for war, this desire to engage in combat with sword, which doesn't really make sense because she's a dragon rider, so when's she ever going to need a sword? Like, when's she going to be on the ground, not on her dragon? Anyway, so yeah, she's vying for power in a different sort of way now that her main female council is gone. And there we go, we have a shot of her flying out with Cyrax, so we're not sure where they're going. Excited to see though. I have a theory that she is going out to try and bend some knees, and she wants to do it herself this time. And obviously dialogue saying the shield and the sword. I mean, the syntax of that does kind of imply that with the shield coming first, that she still is prioritising the protection of her subjects, but the fact that she is now going towards the imagery of the shield and the sword rather than, you know, withholding herself and showing restraint, we see that her mindset has kind of shifted over to more of a violent approach to things, which we see in this clip that I just talked about, you know, her thrusting the sword. I wonder whose swords these are, because there's just a small handful of them on the desk. I wonder where they came from. We got a lot of really nice sword shots in the last episode, you know, with Kristen Cole cleaning a sword, with them lifting Blackfire out from the top of Aegon. Got some really nice sword scenes. Yeah, so this is why I have a theory that we're going to see her go out and bend some knees herself, is because Jace says we will still never match the strength of the Green's army, and while they're saying this, it shows the Lannister forces. But this is why I think that we're going to see her go out and bend some knees, because we get a clip of those two and they're kind of stopped, you know, having a conversation with each other, and it seems as though she has just come back from some sort of engagement, And he's like, okay, yeah, great, you bent some knees, but we'll still never match the Green's army. We need Daemon. So that's kind of where my thoughts are. Yeah, so I think this is the Lannister forces coming to the River Lords, who I imagine are this lot down here, coming to meet with them. And I think this is going to be at Pink Maiden. So we will see if they meet with House Piper. And obviously we seen in the last episode that the River Lords are more than angry with Daemon, and so would be very willing to sway. They've already said they will never bend the knee to a tyrant, and that's exactly what they think Daemon is. And so I imagine this would go in favour of the Greens if that's who they're coming to meet. Yeah, so he says we need Daemon, and his lovely mother does not look very pleased. She does not want to contact Daemon. But also, this might be when she's flying out in Cyrax. He might be convincing her to go and meet with Daemon, and she might do so. Although she does immediately after say, I must now proceed as though I stand alone. And we see her walking off again and do what looks like the dragon pit. So then we see that Corlys has taken his place as Hand of the Queen, and he is looking over the painted table, and it looks like he is looking at, I think this will be like Harrenhal, based on the direction that he's looking. If he's looking down the ways, I think this might be Harrenhal, and this might be like the red fork, blue fork, and green fork, you know, like that sort of direction. I'm not sure though, but very well could be. I think that might be why they're trying to set this up like this, because they know this is going to be a significant site of conflict for them. Okay, so I've got a shot of Rhaenyra, and this is Joffrey Valerian's head. You can see his little strong head. God bless. And she looks a bit in shock and awe. People are theorizing this might be her looking at a dragon. And at the end of this, we're going to look at some promo photos that they sent out from episode 6. And there's a couple actually of these two. So we'll talk more about that then. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. I think they're going to meet with some River Lords, and we'll have to see who. While this conversation is happening, we have Rhaenyra say, it's my fault that you've forgotten to fear me. So we have Rhaenyra, and I think that's Mysaria. They've started rocking like the same outfit and the same hairdo. I really love it. I hope Daemon comes back and he's raging that his ex and his new girl are like besties. Anyway, so it's unclear who she's talking to. They try to frame it as if she's talking to Daemon, which is obviously just a trick of the camera. It looks like he is having another vision where he is in the throne room, looking at the Iron Throne again. Hopefully it's Viserys, hopefully it's his father, maybe, and we can have an extension of that Freudian moment in the last episode. But we'll see. And then we get this scene, and per Alicent and our beloved Helena, who can literally do no wrong, is getting absolutely swarmed by the small folk, and for some reason they have a grand total of like this lot and this guy, this one, and they're just all over the shop trying to stop the small folk, while, you know, the two queens run through the middle of the capital. They were obviously up praying at the sept, and then just all hell breaks loose. It's unclear what triggered this, but we are probably to assume that it's whatever Mysaria sent into the city on the lips of Alinda Massey, and it's clearly caused a lot of conflict. Oh, our poor Helena, this poor girl, has she not suffered enough? Look, even like her wee veil thing's fallen. Oh, poor girl. And everybody's swarming them, and once again, same kind of situation as the funeral procession where they were getting swarmed, but this time it seems like it's with a lot more anger and discontentment than the previous love and adoration that the small folk were trying to communicate. Yeah, so this looks like an extension of that scene we seen earlier on in the episode, or in the trailer. And then this is the dragon that I was saying. I mean, the lighting looks... The lighting looks very, very different here. Yeah, no, that looks like a nice, warm, cozy lighting there at the end compared to how it was earlier on. I don't know, maybe we're looking into it too much. But this is supposedly sea smoke, according to Ryan Condal. Unsure if we're going to see anyone try and claim sea smoke just yet, but it seems that he is still hanging around Dragonstone, and we're going to have to find out why, because Rhaenyra is supposedly still alive, so maybe that'll be addressed in the next episode. But this is the last shot of the trailer, and it's Rhaenyra looking a bit horrified, and the closed caption is "Dragon roars." So I feel like that's going to be a pretty good summary for the next episode if they are looking to do the dragon seeds, or at least start out. So it's going to be very interesting. What we're going to do now, we're going to go look at the promo shots, and if you don't want to look at the promo shots because they might be a bit spoilery, probably not any more than this was, but if you don't want to see them, feel free to click away now. Hope I see you in the next one. It was lovely having you. But yeah, now we're going to look at the promo shots now. So here we have the ones that were posted by House of the Dragon. So we have Jace, absolutely serving face, being an absolutely beautiful boy. And we have a conversation going on here between Corlys and his illegitimate son, Alan. And I imagine that based on his conversation with Bela last episode, where she said Driftmark must go to Salton Sea, this might be the Salton Sea. We shall see. And then we have this one. And I know you already know, Twitter has taken this and absolutely run with it. And in my heart I've taken it and run with it too, because why is it that we've seen this man have like no physical interaction with his whole family, and now in the one episode we're getting this like weird intimate scene with his mother and this weird intimate scene with his brother? Like, he's getting real Targaryen about this. He's been like given a bit of authority in King's Landing for 5 minutes, and all of a sudden he's going real Targaryen. But also heartbreaking. He's like kissing his brother's head, and it doesn't look like his brother's opened his eyes yet from what I can see. And yeah, no, heartbreaking. But then like 2 seconds later he's pressing down his chest, at his very, very injured brother's chest. Oh, he's so sinister and evil. And then this is one of the shots that I was talking about. This is so cute. Look at her smiling at her wee stepbrother. So cute. Anyway, looks like they're having a lovely wee stroll to themselves, up in the Eyrie, exploring this beautiful landscape. We love to see it. Hope we get to see more of it. It looks really pretty. But yeah, so that was the first batch of photos that was posted by House of the Dragon. Then Max posted these, and continuing on from the last one, it looks like this is a charred sheep, right? And there was already theories that she was going to be taking over the Nettle storyline. So is this going to be a reveal of Sheep Stealer in the next episode? Are we going to get some interesting dragon reveals? Because they've been kind of lacking the dragons, and then give us that big massive battle at Rook's Rest, and then now they're implying, right, we're doing dragon seeds, and also there's something going on in the Eyrie, and I am looking forward to seeing what's going on. Looking forward to seeing how they handle it. Yeah, again, him just being super intimate with his family all of a sudden, and you can tell he fancies his mother so much. I want to see the same energy we had for the Daemon episode last week. I want to see it this week. I want to see people disgusted. This is what I mean. They have like the same cut of like shirt dress on now, and they have like the same hair thing going on. I love these two together, plotting and scheming. I love it. Visual parallels are amazing. Cinematography, beautiful. And what a setup. Yeah, so they were praying. Stop trying to indoctrinate Helena. Let her love. She's not of this world. She doesn't have to sit and pray to the 7. Anyway, mother-daughter bonding time. Okay, so that's all we're gonna look at, and I am gonna call it a day because I've been recording for 40 minutes for a 1 minute trailer. So it was lovely chatting with you all. Excited to see the episode and excited to chat about it with you. So I'll see you then.